Something has sliced through Spider-Man's web and he is falling. The culprit is Medusa of the Inhumans, flying around on a monocruiser. She rescues Spidey with her long red hair and explains that she's here to see if humans still fear the Inhumans, or if they can safely return. But since a costumed hero isn't a regular person, she flies away to do a census with someone else, so fast that Spider-Man loses her. We're reading every Spider-Man ever, and this is Amazing Spider-Man issue 62, Make Way for Medusa. As Medusa flies through the city, she is spotted by Wilberforce and Mr. Bliss, two employees at the Heavenly Hairspray Company who are looking for a new model to lead their ad campaign, and they just found her. As they discuss how to approach the Inhuman, Medusa is elsewhere, and she descends into a crowd to see how they respond to her. What starts as fear soon grows calm and accepting when she rescues a boy from falling. Perhaps it is time for the Inhumans to come out of hiding. As Medusa ponders this, Wilberforce gets her attention and offers her money to be the face of their hairspray brand. She has no need for money, but she agrees to get that rare opportunity to study humans up close. Meanwhile and elsewhere, Peter Parker visits Gwen to apologize for attacking her dad, but Gwen is still mad and won't let him explain, and she slams the door in his face. George Stacy, bedbound after the events of the last few issues, is confused. He thought that she still had feelings for the boy, and he doesn't remember what he did while under the Kingpin's control. It's all dim and clouded. And elsewhere once more, Jonah Jameson is in the Gentleman's Club, complaining about his staff when Norman Osborn yells at him and flees. Something is bothering Norman, and that something is the memories of the Green Goblin, memories that are becoming clearer and clearer, including the face of an unmasked Spider-Man. But before we can worry about that, we visit his son, Harry Osborn, who is struggling with his studying and jealous of how easy everything comes to Peter, the brewing of something very important. The next day, Medusa is shooting her ad campaign and she is bored. So bored that she just trashes the studio and leaves, vowing to never return. But no one does that to Montgomery G. Bliss. He vows to get $1 million of publicity out of Medusa, which would be $9 million today, inflation fans. And when he spots Spidey swinging past, he knows just how he's going to do that. He yells for help out of the window, and Spider-Man arrives to find Mr. Bliss in the middle of a trashed studio. Bliss says that Medusa did it, and that she threatened to do worse. And even though Spidey doesn't think his story holds up, he swings away to confront Medusa. If he can stop her, he can ask questions later, and Mr. Bliss arranges for a whole bunch of cameras to be on the scene of the fight. When Spider-Man catches up with Medusa, he does try to talk to her, unlike every other time he fights a superhero, and he asks for an explanation, but she explains nothing to anyone, and she responds with violence. The two tussle right in front of a billboard for Heavenly Hairspray, and Medusa wraps Spidey up with her hair. Spidey breaks out, and again he tries to talk to her. He's willing to listen to her side of the story. Willing? Medusa yells. Medusa decides who will listen to her and when, and she meets him once more with violence. Spidey tackles her and gets thrown into a wall, and then he wraps her in webbing and she starts to cut her way out with her hair, but she isn't cutting her way out to attack once more. Instead, Spider-Man has made it very clear that Inhumans are unwelcome, and she will return to her people and tell them to stay in hiding. But now there's a moment when she's still entangled in webbing where Spidey can finally have a moment to talk to her, and he realizes that he's been lied to, and Medusa realizes that she's been betrayed. But Spider-Man has a plan that will get back at Mr. Bliss, and Medusa, not knowing who to trust anymore, leaves him to it. A short time later, Mr. Bliss learns that the sales of Heavenly Hairspray have plummeted. Apparently, Spider-Man had told reporters that Medusa was wild and uncontrollable, the exact opposite of how people would want their hair, and so people don't buy it anymore. But elsewhere, Peter Parker doesn't care about Hairspray. He misses Gwen, the one girl he cares about. Even when MJ arrives, cheering the news that Peter and Gwen have split, meaning that he can be with her, Peter is just not in the mood. It seems, Mary Jane thinks, like he really misses the girl. Thanks for watching. Next week, Spider-Man gets into politics and goes black and white. But while we wait for that issue, here's a fun fact about this one. At the time when this issue was published, Marvel saw value in marketing Stan Lee as a brand. And so this issue advertises an autographed portrait of Stan the Man. It's printed with Lee's signature and his new catchphrase, Excelsior. They promised photos of the other Marvel stars, but that never happens. Oh, and the autograph wasn't even real.